video is produced at Benjamin L. Hooks Job Corps, Memphis, Tennessee. This is a 10-minute video on power tool safety. Since the length of this video is only 10 minutes, we're not going to cover safety as it pertains to these power tools here that occurs whenever you're doing a certain task with them. Because each task that you do with a power tool will have its own safety involved with the way you do that task. So, what we're going to focus on in this video is just basic safety that encompasses being around any power tool at all. It's the same thing that you have when you're taking your shop general safety rules test that we take in the beginning. It's the introduction to safely approaching and the handling of power tools. So, that being said, to start with, first thing we're going to do is wear our safety glasses. Now, what we're assuming is that we're fixing to start work for the beginning of the day. And what we have here is we're going to take our power circular saw here. And now that we've got it out, it needs an inspection done on it. That inspection needs to be done like this. First of all, we're going to check this cord to make sure that the power supply doesn't have any frays, rips, tears in it. And you notice that we're feeling of it as well as physically looking at it. Because sometimes you might feel something as well as you do see it, or hear it. We use all of our 5 senses for checking these power tools. Now, once we've checked the cord, the other thing that we want to check on most power tools would be the on-off switch, or the trigger as we might call it. And what I'm doing here is I'm actually moving this to make sure that it moves and operates freely and there's no obvious hang-up in it. Secondly, this area right in here, this is the guard of the saw. You'll notice it moves. It's on a spring level. This is a protection device that keeps you from damaging or mistakenly get your hands or fingers in the saw. This part of the saw here is the adjustment for the foot of the saw. It's got a lever right here, and if you move that, it allows the saw to be set to different angles. Now, when you first get this saw, you'll want to make sure that whatever adjustment is supposed to be on, that the saw is adjusted and that the lock operates correctly. If you can't move this lock, you don't need to put the saw in use. On the back is a depth blade adjustment. Another adjustment again that lets the foot raise up and down for the depth of blade. Now, the safety aspect of this is that has to be able to be adjusted and locked for you to be able to set the saw to a regular depth so that you don't have an overexposure of the blade. Again, reduces the risk of cutting or affecting cutting your hand while using the saw. Now, what we have over here is a power drill. Again, you'll notice the same deal. We've got a power supply cord. We're going to take the power supply cord. We're going to run our hands over it. Physically look at it. Check the plug. This all seems to look okay. It has a trigger, just like what we looked at on the power saw. I'm squeezing the trigger to make sure that it moves freely, operates securely, acts like everything's working fine on it. It has a reverse and forward switch right here. I notice it has an arrow for pointing in reverse and an arrow for pointing forward. The switch seems to work okay. And then we have the chuck. This already has an attachment in it for a drill bit. I'm going to go ahead and take that out. I'm loosening the chuck with one hand, holding the other piece. This is a keyless chuck, and I'm going to remove that. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to spin this, and I'm going to make sure that the teeth, the 3 ears of the chuck, actually will come all the way out to a point, and that the chuck moves freely when I'm doing that, and that I can turn it in reverse and move the chuck all the way back in. Now, so, whenever you see a power tool like this, and you go to your tool room to get out the proper power tools you've selected for use during the day, you need to conduct this basic inspection of those components before you begin working with that tool. So let me go back and recap for a minute. If we going to use the power saw, the things we want to check. Trigger, our safety guard, our foot adjustment locks, our adjustment lock for the backside, for the back of the shoe that adjusts for the depth of the saw. On the drill, once again, we have some basic things. Again, the power cord's here. We have a trigger. We have a forward reverse switch that making sure everything's operating smoothly. And we have a chuck that we want to make sure opens and closes correctly. Now there's a couple of other things that go on too when you have the saw. When you have this plugged up and it's operating, so far we've used our sense of touch and our sense of sight. Also, since these are electric power tools, you can use your sense of smell. If you smell a strong odor that smells like wire burning or any pungent odor, that's a pretty good indication that there's something wrong with that tool. Once the motors get bad, that's what will happen to them. They'll make a lot of noise and they will smell. Okay, so, we have any questions? Yes?
What do I do if I find a damaged tool?
Oh, that's a good question. If you found a damaged tool, let's say I had found something wrong with this power drill right here. I'm sure you've all seen little tags before with the wires on them that you can get order the tags, put on the tool, and place it out of service. But let's say that you don't have that. Well, another handy thing I like to do is you take something as simple as a roll of tape, and all you have to do is write on the tape. I'm going to write faulty cord, put my name, date, and then I can take this tear that up, put this right on the drill, and then I have a special place in my tool room that I keep these until I get ready to get them repaired. Now, if someone picks this tool up, they will see this and know that it should be out of service.
Do I need to inspect the tools each time?
Go ahead with your question.
Do I need to inspect the tools each time?
No. When you're using the tool throughout the day, I don't inspect my tools every time as I'm using them. Once I do an inspection of that day before I put it in service, then I'm pretty well okay with it for the rest of the day. And all day long as I'm using it, I'm using safe practices and I'm handling the tool, so I'll probably pick up if there's something wrong. But the part of your question is good. Let's say that you are, anytime I'm away from my tool for any extended period of time, maybe a lunch break or something, I've left it out, then at that time when I come back, I probably will check it. Because somebody might have come by and changed my adjustments, messed with my foot, or something could have happened and I don't realize it. Secondly, we also have these things right here. These are called stop powers. It's a neat little device. And let's say you're going to leave this, and let's say you're working with students like I do here, or around children, or some area where they're not regular workers that would know about this saw. And you want to make sure that they can't get harmed with it. You can put this little device on here, turn the key, lock it, key in your pocket. Now with this saw laid here, no matter what happens, they cannot plug it up. Again, that's a stop power device. Okay? And this concludes our lesson. If you'll finish your test, sign and date them, turn them in, and this will conclude our general power tool safety quiz for today. Thank you.